I am Grégory Gabriel, Head of Studies of the Conservatoire National Supérieur d'Art Dramatique in Paris, and we are the project leaders of the academics project. Lately we did some statistics at the Conservatoire on the performances that have been shown during the last 10 years, at least in the official curriculum of the acting training. And we realized that out of 100 authors, we only have 4 women and 1 African author, 4 contemporary women authors and 1 contemporary African author. And out of that, most of authors represent France, Germany, England, Russia, and the rest of the world doesn't exist actually. So it's really time for a big transformation, a big change, and it's actually the heart of the project of the new director that we have here at the Conservatoire, which just began a few days ago. The last 10 years, we worked on diversity of our students in the Conservatoire. I mean, social diversity, geographical diversity, and cultural diversity. And with this new population of students, we also need to rethink the repertoire and the texts they work on. They are very demanding on working on new stories, new texts. It's time to explore a new repertoire that would be curious of the whole world. It's a real need of a revolution, a metamorphosis of the theater that we can accompany. And I think it has to go through the students who can also convince the teachers and the guest artists that we invite here at the Conservatoire. And in the meantime, it's also a way to get a new audience which is not necessarily familiar with theater, because most of the time they think that theater doesn't talk about them. On another hand, we also need to explore new territories on the text that we work on, and especially in the context of climate change and sustainability. It's a whole new territory to explore with new texts, create new dramaturgies, and theater cannot change the world we live in, but at least we can change the way it is represented, and we have a role to play in this change and this metamorphosis. We also need to talk about female authors. Aurore Evin, who is actually a French researcher and director, stage director, talks about 2,000 female authors that have been erased, totally invisibilized during the last 200 years or even more. So it's incredibly violent. It's really an official process of erasure, and it's time to honor this part of our heritage and honor this part of our texts. And we're going to work here at the Conservatoire to make them, to discover those texts and to make them work in our courses and maybe in our public presentations. About the classical repertoire, the classical French repertoire, of course, it's part of our memory and it's part of our theatrical memory. So there is no question we have to study it in our school, and we still have to represent it. But we need to question it, and we need to question its representations. For instance, it says things that are not possible to be said anymore because they're based on a patriarchal model, and things that used to be acceptable are not acceptable anymore. So, of course, this repertoire has to be studied, but it has to be studied with reflection and awareness of what he says. And the notion of typecasting has to be totally abolished, and we also need to question the gender aspect of this repertoire, and it's really an open field to research and creation.